with reports suggesting that Man United may be close to signing JADON Sancho by offering the player $400k per week on top of spending $130 million to capture the player. Is it time we accept that we aren't going to sign JADON Sancho? And if that's the case, who are alternatives to his signing? Now, if you're asking me, I still think it's more realistic that Sancho spends one more season at Dortmund before deciding to move on. But if that isn't the case, you guys, in today's video, I'm going to break down the 5 alternatives to Sancho, 5 players who I believe suit how we play, suit the system, have that top 4 X factors to play for us, and most importantly, have that quality as well. We start with the first one, and I want to talk about Youcef Atal. Now, I know what you guys might be thinking, Nini, Atal's a right back. What I'm going to say is Atal isn't any ordinary right back. I see him as like a Dani Alves style of player. Not only him, but I think Ricardo Pereira from Leicester City is another example of this style of fullback. They're able to play all across the flank, but with Atal, he can play as a winger down the left-hand side as well. And it's no surprise to me that playing as a left winger, he's able to get goals, and that's due to his game. He's a player that likes to play on the last line of the shoulder. He's very brave at making his runs in from behind. He stretches teams, and he's aggressive. He wants to beat his man, he wants to carry the ball, and with a team like us that really emphasizes our attacks down the flanks, I really feel like Atal would be a great addition for the squads. When you sign Atal, you're signing the ultimate utility player who can play all across the right flank and as a winger, and if you're Lampard, he's giving you options every single time. Whenever players are injured or underperforming or need to be subbed off, you have Atal there, Mr. Fix-It-All, that can fill most of these positions, and on top of that, you guys, he has the quality. Now, Atal isn't perfect defensively, but if you're asking me, we can reduce and minimize his deficiencies due to our amazing coaches at the club, due to having better players around him, due to having a better system around him as well. We can allow him to do whatever he wants in the offensive phase because we'd have the solutions to minimize any deficiencies behind his game. Atal would be an amazing addition to the squad. But now you guys move on to the second player on the list, and I want to talk about Adama Traore. Without a doubt, one of the best performing players in the Premier League this season. I'm so happy for his success. He's been written off way too easily for some baffling reasons. I mean, the guy's only 23 years old. He's still really young, and he still hasn't reached his prime peak form. Massive credit goes to Nuno Santo, who saw his raw ability he had, yet he had the patience and he had the ability to coach him, challenge him, improve him, and in that sense this was quite easy because when you see all the positive things that his teammates at Wolves have to say about the player, it's no surprise that Adama has improved, and that's because of the player's mentality. He works hard, and as Adama himself said, if tomorrow he's still the same as yesterday, then he's failed. That is a really, I mean, that's a bar. I can't lie to you guys, that's a pure bar. And it gives you an insight into the player's mentality and how much he cares about developing to become the very best player he can. His game this season has gone to even higher heights. But what I like this season is how much he's improved his overall game. When you see Adama now, he's mastered how to dribble the ball. Now, surprisingly, even though he's the best dribbler stats-wise in the league this season, he's performing less dribbles than he's normally done in previous seasons. With Adama before, it was all about quantity over quality. These days, it's quality every single time. When you see how the player plays, it's no surprise. He's mastered how to use his upper body strength. He's mastered how to use his speed. He's not just running at full speed anymore. He knows how to use his acceleration. He knows how to attack the spaces, how to exploit teammates, and most importantly, how to create space. And most importantly, he knows how to create space for his teammates around him. There's a reason why Jurgen Klopp is constantly in praise and awe of the player, because in that sense, Adama really is an anomaly, you guys. It's quite funny, I read in an article somewhere that Adama was approached by NFL teams back when he was a youth team player at Barcelona, and it's quite evident to see because he looks like an American football player playing football. With Adama, you have a player that has some ridiculous attributes that are some of the best in the league. He is unstoppable in that sense. I haven't seen a single player have the upper hand on him, but what I love the most, you guys, is how he performs in the very big games. In every big game this season, he hasn't been stopped. Teams fear him, and that's because they know that they can't really do anything against him. With his speed, with his strength, and with his intelligence in his game as well, he has become a very formidable player. In that sense, he's like a cheat code against the best teams in the country, and this was evident in that win against Man City, where he scored a brace in that game. One of the craziest stats that I found about the player is that when your team is in a losing position and Adama's playing, well, it seems like he turns Super Saiyan because everything improves in his game. His pass accuracy, his deep progressions with the ball, his shots on goal. What's the reason for this? Well, as his manager and as his teammates have said, with Adama, the more focused he is, the better he becomes. For me, this is a player that is only going to get better. One of the best attacking players in the league this season. Could Adama Traore be the perfect replacement for JADON Sancho? We now move on to a player that you guys know that I love. I've been praising him on this channel for such a long time, for years. His name is Jeremie Boga, and with his release clause at a very ridiculous affordable fee, is this not the perfect time to sign the player and bring him back to Stamford Bridge? If you really deep things, Boga could be the best signing to make. Due to his price, due to his ability, due to his skill set and his game, you know, you can sign a top quality player for nothing and still have tons of money left to reinvest in other areas for the team. Stats wise, Boga has shown that he's one of the best dribblers in Serie A. He's got double digits for goals and assists, and he's got them playing for a Sassuolo team that tend to play him out wide, isolated by himself. This has been a revelation for Boga because this allows him to play purely on expression alone. He has creative freedom to do whatever he wants, and what impresses me is the quality he's shown playing in this role. Now, his XG value for shots on goal isn't the highest, but is that really a surprise? Because as I said, he's playing out wide, isolated by himself. He's not playing as close to goal as he wants. Most times he gets in the box, it's because of runs he's making by himself. So this is a stat I feel that would greatly improve if he played for a better team with better teammates around him. Now, as I constantly stress every single time, Boga traditionally is a number 10. And you can see this element in the player still, because when you look at his stats, you see that he has an 84% pass completion rate, playing how he does in the final thirds. For me, this is a skill set that separates wingers that can be the very best from wingers that are very good. The only times Boga really loses the ball is when he's attempting a dribble, but I mean, that's naturally going to happen because he's attempting so many during games. The great thing is, the player does not lose possession of the ball easily in the final third, and that's a skill set you want, you guys. If you're playing against teams that are parking the bus and are very deep, you do not want your winger constantly losing the ball and being ineffective with his play. There's even more examples of his number 10 traits in his game. You know, he isn't a player that just runs at full speed and hopes to use his speed and physicality to beat his man. Boga can control the pace of his game. That's what's making him an even more effective attacking player. He can slow it down, he can run past you, he can cut through you, he can shift his direction effortlessly with his low center of gravity. He has the upper body strength now to hold up the ball even better, and he's extremely efficient in the final thirds. With how he played between the lines, if Boga came back, he would see an even better player. He has the mentality, the dedication, and most importantly, the quality and the ability. Boga could be the very best player to sign if we can't sign JADON Sancho. Now we end with two more players on this list. We now move on to Norwich City's Buendia. Buendia's game against Wolves this season was one of the best individual performances I've seen this season by a country mile. Now, he's a player that I like to compare to Bernardo Silva. They're both attacking playmakers in that sense, great low center of gravity, incredible left foots, they can play passes between the lines, you know, very accurate, very creative players. But the reason why I compare him to Bernardo Silva is because he has that same tenacity, that same aggression, and he's very good in the defensive phase. He's the type of player that would suit our counter-pressing style, and as I said before, his game against Wolverhampton Wanderers was one of the best individual performances by far this season. It was like a highlight reel of all the amazing things that Buendia can do, and without a doubt, this player has that top 4 X factor. It's looking so obvious that Norwich will get relegated, and I'm curious as to what price Buendia is going to be available for. There's no way he can go back to the Championship, that can't happen. I guess the only thing worth contemplating about this deal is he a bit too similar to what we already have? We've just signed Hakim Ziyech, and in that sense, they're players that play the same type of role. And that's because with Buendia, even though he's shown amazing ability, he doesn't have any goals in the Premier League this season. Now, this isn't the biggest negative. You know, he is playing more as an advanced playmaker that plays a lot in midfield as well. But when you sign for a club like us, you're hoping that the player is going to provide something in the final third if the opportunities come. But if you ignore the goals, you see that Buendia is an amazing attacking creative player, and he definitely would have the quality to play for a club like us. And now, you guys, to end today's video, we move on to the final player, and that's none other than Brentford's Benrahma. Now, honestly, North African players this generation, they're some of the most exciting players around. I remember I got a lot of heat praising Benrahma and talking about the possibility of him maybe representing us in the future. But I think now that the player's name's become bigger and he's grown more popular, I think everyone's starting to see the ability that this player possesses. Now, I understand the argument that Nini, this is a player playing for Brentford in the Championship. We're trying to go to the next level. We need to look at players that are playing in Europe, that are playing in the higher divisions, that are actually doing something instead of turning towards these Championship players. My only argument for that is that the Championship is not the same Championship we used to know. And that's because of all the Premier League money. Because of the newfound riches in the Premier League, it means that a lot of clubs aren't giving opportunities to young players that they normally would do. Of course, this has improved the quality of the league, as nearly every team in the Premier League has international players playing for them. However, it makes it harder for younger players to get an opportunity. This is where the Championship steps in. And in that sense, the Championship has become the ultimate finishing school for players. And we should know that as fans, as 3 players for us in Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount and Reece James, well, these players are 3 main reasons why we are in the top 4 spot where we are, and all of them came from the Championship last season and made the step up to play for us. So if they can do that, then I definitely think that Benrahma has that quality to do the same thing as well. Benrahma is like the Messi of the Championship. Stats wise, he just outclasses all his competition around him. He's a player that excels in playing between the lines. He's so intelligent. He knows when to create space for himself, great space for his teammates. He utilizes his excellent press resistance by using really good body positioning to obviously throw opponent players off balance. He can pass between the lines, and on top of that, he has the end products. You know, with a lot of these skillful, flary players, at times, they don't have the end product with goals or assists, but that's not the case with Benrahma. Look at the goals he scores. This guy can score from free kicks, outside the box, inside the box. He can create goals for himself, and he can get on the end of attacks as well. He's the perfect inside forward. I guess the only issue could be, don't we have players like that in Hudson-Odoi and Christian Pulisic already? That is the case, but Christian and Hudson can also play as wingers down the right hand side as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Lampard being flexible with his use of these players. I love the player's game because I love his self-expression on the pitch. For me, that is one thing I constantly look for, and that's because it shows me the confidence of the player. It tells me how much the player believes in their abilities, how comfortable they feel playing on the field, and how good is their end product when they're feeling very confident. I think Benrahma most definitely has that top 4 X factor. He could be available at a very good fee. Could we even do potential business with Brentford, who have a reputation in the Championship for playing amazing football, exciting young players and guys like your Josh De Silvas, you know, great midfield players like Jensen as well. Could Benrahma be a risk worth taking? But anyway, you guys, that's going to be me for today. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. What do you guys think of the players that I suggested? If you don't agree, in the comment section below, give me your 5 players, your 5 alternatives to JADON Sancho. I'm really curious, and I'm sure that all of us are going to be interested to read what you have to say. So you guys, on that point, I'm going to wrap things up now and keep things the hell moving. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions CV. I'll see you guys in a bit.